The only newscast in true high definition, broadcasting live from 12 studios. This is News 12 at 5 a.m.
It is Thursday, September 12th. Some residents in Ada will be without water this morning. All the details coming up.
And more jobs headed to southern Oklahoma after a manufacturing company announces a big expansion.
Plus, Hugo residents are celebrating after their town's school bond passed in Tuesday's election. Good morning, Texoma. Thanks for joining us. I'm Rita, Kotey.
And I'm Kylie, Dixon. And remember, you can watch us streaming live on our new KXII app this morning.
That's true. So you need to delete the old one and then re-download
the new one, and you can get all the weather you need.
That's true. You can get it right now with meteorologist Tom Miller. Good morning, Tom.
I was looking at that app and looking at the radar yesterday as we did see some scattered showers and thunderstorms across the area. Many of us were on the dry side of that, but nonetheless some changes to take place in our forecast. And it's only 10 days until fall officially arrives, and we are still looking at burn bans across southern Oklahoma. Check that, burn bans across North Texas, southern Oklahoma, no burn bans. But nonetheless, we've again had some problems with grass fires yesterday, and we'll probably have a few problems today. You can see those scattered showers dying down once we lost that daytime heating, a few clouds around. As for the temperatures, we're at 78 in Sherman and Denison, while it's 73 in Paris, 70 in Ada and Ardmore, 73 in Durant. Bus stop weather, looking at, well, a warm start with around 74, 89 at noontime with 95 for high, a chance of a scattered shower or thunderstorm possible. And you see a frontal system is on its way, and it will cool our temperatures down a little bit. We'll have a complete look at the forecast here in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Tom. New this morning at 5:01. Around 4 o'clock this morning, emergency personnel responded to a camper trailer on fire in the 300 block of Kelly Street in Van Alstyne. They contained the fire shortly afterwards. We'll continue to bring you more details as we get it.
A house near Denison High School caught fire Wednesday morning. It happened at 620 Brock Street. They say only one person was home. He made it out safely. Firefighters say they were able to contain the blaze to one part of the house, but the rest of the home suffered significant fire and smoke damage.
A Broken Bow man is dead after a single vehicle crash in McCurtain County Tuesday night. According to an OHP report, 52-year-old Stephen Craig Hudgens died in the crash. He was traveling westbound on Red Arrow Road about 3 miles east of Broken Bow when he went left of center after cresting a hill, overcorrected and crashed into a tree on the right side of the roadway. He was pronounced dead at the scene of a head injury.
The city of Colbert has lifted its boil advisory, saying the water is safe to drink. Officials were conducting DEQ required tests and were required to remain under a boil order until tests were completed. They say the problem was a combination of a water leak and a malfunctioning water pump. But officials say water and water pressure are back at full capacity and the boil advisory is now lifted. Some residents in Ada will be without water this morning. Residents on West 15th between Cherry and Hickory Streets will be without water from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Crews will be replacing a water line today. Homes located nearby may also be affected, and the intersection of Johnston and West 15th will be closed due to the project. Taking a look at Money News this morning, Oklahoma Lieutenant Governor Todd Lamb and other dignitaries gathered in Ardmore City. They will gather in Ardmore City to celebrate an expansion at the Forum Energy Technologies plant. The manufacturing company produced equipment for oil and gas production, and a 10,000 square foot addition was opened to allow more efficient production on larger equipment. State Senator Susan Paddock says the expansion will bring more economic growth and jobs to Garvin County.
Just continues to grow. It's good for the economy. They provide tremendous jobs for this area. It's good for the energy industry to have a manufacturer right here in Oklahoma that provides products that they need.
Forum Energy has 5 other manufacturing plants in Oklahoma, and officials with the company say they see another expansion happening in the future.
After 3 attempts, the Hugo Public Schools bond passed with 78% of the vote. The $1.4 million bond will go towards building a new high school. Hugo Superintendent Karen Lyle says they hope to sell the bonds by November and start building in December. One Hugo resident says he's glad to see the community's support.
It gave me a real good sense of pride that our community finally has come together and got behind something like this. I think it's going to be real positive for the community as a whole.
Property taxes will increase 8.9%. Architects are estimating it will take 2 years to build a new high school.
Denison will be featured in the upcoming AAA magazine, Texas Journey. The magazine highlights destinations around the country. This time, they're specifically focused on Denison's art scene. The writer spent the day touring downtown, focusing on family-friendly locations.
So far, we've focused mainly on Main Street, going to visit the shops and galleries and the cupcake place.
The issue comes out next May.
350 economists are giving President Obama a piece of their mind. They've signed a letter to the president urging him to nominate Federal Reserve Vice Chair Janet Yellen to be the Fed's next chairman. The letter suggests that she is the most qualified candidate to lead the central bank. President Obama is said to be leaning toward nominating his former economic advisor, Larry Summers. Current Fed Chair Ben Bernanke's term ends January 31st. The Dow rallied triple digits for the third straight day, up 135 points, but the Nasdaq dipped 4, dragged lower by Apple, which fell more than 5% after its new iPhones failed to impress investors.
American Airlines and U.S. Airways say the government simply doesn't understand the airline industry. The government is suing to block the carrier's $11 billion merger. In court papers, American and U.S. Airways say the Justice Department's analysis of the deal ignores competition that exists from low-cost carriers such as Southwest. The government's lawsuit to block the merger goes to trial in November.
Well, if you're looking to upgrade your mobile phone, I probably should be, but Apple is tempting customers with 2 new iPhones. But which one gets you more bang for your buck?
Sumi Das compares the iPhone 5S and 5C and looks at non-Apple options.
At first glance, the Skittles-colored casing of the new iPhone 5C easily sets it apart from its shinier sibling, the 5S.
And we're going to replace it with not 1, but 2 new designs.
But how do the 2 phones differ on the inside, and which one is right for you? If you wouldn't be caught dead without Apple's latest top-of-the-line phone, the 5S, starting at $200 for the 16-gig model, is the phone for you.
The 5S is a lot like the iPhone 5 that came before it, with the exception of a fingerprint scanner and a couple of internal things. Otherwise, the screen is exactly the same, the look and feel pretty much identical.
What you will get in Apple's premium model is a fingerprint sensor built into the home button that simplifies unlocking your phone and iTunes purchases. For the fitness fanatics, a motion sensor that helps track your movement. Improved camera features such as slow-mo and a dual-tone flash. The lower-end 5C doesn't offer any of these features.
So the big story here is color and material. They moved away from aluminum and they've gone to polycarbonate, which is a fancy way of saying plastic.
The 5S and 5C both sport an improved forward-facing camera, all the better to snap selfies with. Both models go on sale September 20th, but only the 5C can be pre-ordered. The 5C starts at $100 for the 16-gig version. There are also many Android devices comparable to the iPhone 5C, including the Moto X and the HTC One Mini.
The HTC One Mini is actually more premium in look and feel than I think the iPhone 5C is with the plastic.
Decisions. In San Francisco, I'm Sumi Das, CNET.com for CBS News.
Well, what can $3.4 million buy? One hot ride. This rare 1967 Chevy Corvette is one of only 20 produced that year. The L88 model is said to be among the most valuable ever made. The sports car recently sold at a Dallas auction for $3.4 million, a record for a Corvette at auction.
Ooh, no big deal. We can just purchase one of those later.
I can see you riding along in that, Tom. Your hair just blowing in the wind.
I wouldn't drive it if I had to pay $3.4 million.
Kind of just put it on a pedestal and just watch it.
Glass case.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we saw some rain yesterday.
We did.
A little.
And that was the problem. Is it was very scattered, but it helped to produce some clouds and cool those temperatures out of the mid-90s as we did reach into the mid-90s yesterday, and we'll be right back in the mid-90s this afternoon. And like yesterday, we will see some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Hopefully it'll be over areas that didn't receive the rain yesterday. This is our Ardmore Tower Cam. This brought to you by Glen Polk Autoplex and Supercenter in Gainesville. Waking up to fair to partly cloudy skies, but temperatures a little bit warmer than they were yesterday morning. 75 in Sherman and Denison, 70 in Ardmore. We have 70 in Ada, 73 degrees in Drayton. You can also see that relative humidity, excuse me, is a little higher than it was yesterday morning, as that southeasterly wind starting to pull some of that Gulf moisture back into there. But that's good. If we want rain, we got to have the moisture around. Hopefully we'll get enough rain to knock this pollen out of the air. But 72 in Hugo, 73 in Paris, 72 in Pauls Valley. It's 71 in Gainesville. Out at Lake Texoma, the elevation at 616.22 feet. And the water temperature still holding at 83. They'll generate between 1 and 7 p.m. Well, the frontal system is just nudging into northern Oklahoma. Now it's going to be moving through later on tonight into early tomorrow morning. There's enough moisture for about a 20, maybe 30% chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms. And again, really, we're still underneath this huge ridge of high pressure, and there's not a whole lot of cold air behind it. Most of the cold air is still across portions of Canada, but nonetheless, it'll drop those temperatures down just a little bit behind the frontal system, and it'll set up a pleasant weekend for us. And we're still watching a little tropical system that we're hoping that will move into portions of Mexico over the weekend, and some of that moisture will be pulled our way. Putting the Futurecast model into motion, you can see those scattered showers popping up this afternoon. And believe it or not, we could see a few isolated showers as well developing Friday afternoon, even though the front will be just to our south. So our daily planner, 89 at noon, 95 just like yesterday with a chance of an isolated shower thunderstorm, and at 9 o'clock, 81. But 95 is still well above the normal of around, say 87, 88 for normal highs, 72 for a low tonight. A 20% chance of a shower thunderstorm tomorrow, 90. But again, we shouldn't have any problems with those Friday night football games. Saturday, a beautiful day, mostly sunny and 91 after a low of 67. 90 Sunday with a slight chance of rain. And then Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, some of that tropical moisture leaves us with partly to mostly cloudy skies, a 20 to 30% chance of rain, and high temperatures around 90 degrees.
Thanks, Tom. Coming up on News 12 a.m., the East Texas woman accused of mailing poison-laced letters speaks out. Hear what she has to say after the break.
The time now is 5:12. Thanks for waking up with us. We'll be right back.
It's 5:15. The East Texas woman accused of mailing poison-laced letters to President Obama has been ordered to remain behind bars until her trial.
Not guilty. I didn't do this. I would not put my children in danger.
Shannon Richardson appeared in court for a detention hearing Wednesday morning. A judge denied her request for bond, claiming she's a serious flight risk. Authorities say the new Boston, Texas actress sent ricin-laced letters to President Obama, New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg, then tried to frame her husband for the crime. She's charged with 2 counts of threat by mail and 1 threatening the president.
A Crime Watch volunteer suspected of raping 4 women in Dallas this summer was also implicated in a sexual assault 2 decades ago.
38-year-old Vandrelyn Dixon was arrested Tuesday in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Police say DNA evidence so far has linked him to 4 rapes in Dallas's Fair Park neighborhood. Robbie Owens has more.
In the South Dallas community, terrorized by reports of a serial rapist, news of an arrest brought instant relief.
I'm so happy, I'm so happy, I'm so happy. Thank you, Jesus.
But relief is also giving way to questions about whether there were warning signs that were missed. What turns a Community Watch volunteer into a suspected rapist?
Rape is another form of violence.
Dallas psychologist Bill Flynn is an expert on the mindset of sexual predators. He says, contrary to the commonly held belief that rape is about power, research now says the motivation is much more basic.
It's about sex. Rape is about getting sex. But people who have limited options and have found in the past that violence will get them what they want, they stick with that way of getting what they want.
In the early 90s, a woman said Dixon sexually assaulted her at gunpoint. That case never went to court because the accuser was struck by lightning and died just before the trial. Dixon was convicted of aggravated robbery in 1993 and spent 10 years in prison.
That was Robbie Owens reporting. Well, coming up on News 12 AM, it's Rivalry Week in Oklahoma. We'll visit one of the best showdowns around, Sulphur versus Davis. That's next in sports.
5:17. Thanks for waking up with us. We'll be right back.
This sports segment is brought to you by HoytDodge.com. Hoyt said sell 'em.
Now, your award-winning local sports coverage. Here's David Reed.
Good morning. It is Rivalry Week in Oklahoma high school football. We've got the Marshall County Super Bowl. We've got the Ardmore-Durant game. We've also got the Boggy Bottom Bowl. Then there's the game between Sulphur and Davis. They call it the Murray County War. And here's Taylor Williamson.
The Sulphur Bulldogs and Davis Wolves no longer share a district or even a class, but they are the only two high schools in Murray County, and so their rivalry continues.
I mean, it's a big rivalry, one of the biggest in the state probably, and the last few years they've beat us, they've been extremely good, you know, been up there right there close to winning it all.
And while the rivalry has been relatively even over time, it has been a tough go for Sulphur recently. Current senior class has yet to notch a victory against the Wolves, and that's something they want to change.
Of course, all of us seniors are looking to go out there and win. We should look to win every time we step on the field, but it'd be great to win against Davis.
If they can score a big W over their cross-county rivals, it would be a night to remember.
Yeah, it would be a big deal. I mean, the community would get very excited for the senior class to finally beat Davis.
And if the Bulldogs want to get back into the win column, they'll have to do it here in Davis. But don't count on the Wolves making that an easy task.
The game means a little bit more than most games. I mean, we train for every game like it's, well, we train for them all the same, but the Sulphur-Davis game means just a little bit more than, I mean, we don't like to say it does, but we all know it does.
While the Wolves have gotten the better of the Bulldogs recently, they know nothing is a given.
3 or 4 years we've been able to come out with a win, but those streaks, you know, typically don't last long. We're hoping at least one more.
And with a big rivalry game like this, the Wolves know how important it is for them to keep focused.
You just kind of got to treat it as, you don't look in the past, just treat it as one game, and you just got to go hard.
Davis and Sulphur will face off this Friday night at 7:30 in Davis. Taylor Williamson, Sports 12.
The Oklahoma State Cowboys are getting hammered with allegations. A recent Sports Illustrated article names names and offenses, which includes academic misconduct, pay for play, and inappropriate relations with hostesses and football recruits. Former OSU quarterback Brandon Whedon says, consider the source.
I read the story the first week, the first story that came out, and I laughed throughout the entire thing. It's comical for a lot of reasons. The guys that they did question were, you know, not very good sources to question, because they're the guys that got kicked off the team for drugs, or guys that got kicked off the team for whatever it may be, and no longer, they were dismissed. And so these are guys that you know, aren't real credible. And then the guy that wrote the article, we had a little run in at Texas. He's an OU guy. He's always had it out for Oklahoma State. So he comes up to me after we beat Texas, and he said, so when's it going to happen? When's Okie State going to pull their Okie choke? And long story short, I mean, the guy he's always had it out for Oklahoma State.
And there's a look at your sports this morning.
Weather is brought to you by Langford Roofing since 1937. From the Weather Authority, here's Tom Miller.
Well, it was nice to see, at least on the radar, some scattered showers and thunderstorms across the area. There was nothing over my house, and probably most of us didn't see a drop of rain, but a few folks did see some rain, and that could return again later this afternoon. Right now, everything fairly quiet with fair skies. We're looking at our TMC Tower Cam, brought to you by the good folks at Glen Polk Autoplex and Super Center in Gainesville as we look off towards the north. Temperatures, 73 degrees in Sherman and Dennis. They're starting to come down a little bit. 70 in Ada, 70 degrees in Ardmore, 73 degrees in Durant. But the humidity is also much higher than it has been in quite a few mornings. 76% in relative humidity in Sherman and Denison, and around 83% in Ardmore and Durant. We have 72 in Pauls Valley and Duncan, 71 in Gainesville, 70 in Denton, 73 degrees in Bonham and Paris, and 72 in Atoka, Hugo, and McAllister. Highs yesterday, 97 in Sherman and Denison, 95 degrees in Ardmore before those clouds develop and those scattered showers brought some rainfall to areas of Texoma. You can see, though, the normal high, 87 to 90 is the normal high with the normal lows. They should be getting down into the mid-60s. Dew point temperatures 66 this morning, around 64 this afternoon, about 9 hours of sunshine. As we'll see, partly sunny skies. Dispersion conditions moderately porous, south to southeast winds of 5 to 15 and 2 inches below bare soil, 89, and it's still around 85 to 4 and 12 inches below native sod. And you can take a look at the Dr. Lang's allergen forecast showing again high pollen count in the weeds, that's that ragweed, and mountain cedar, also a problem. Frontal system just edging into northern Oklahoma. We'll be moving through a little later on tonight. With it, the opportunity of the scattered shower and thunderstorm. Not a whole lot of cool air behind it, but it will take the edge off the heat. I still think highs will be around 90 degrees over the weekend into the beginning of next week. And of course, we're going to be watching a tropical system in the southern Gulf. It may make landfall this weekend across portions of Mexico, and that moisture will move our way. And scattered showers a possibility this afternoon. High temperature around 95, southeast winds at 10 to 15. Tonight, that front will be moving through, kicking around the winds to the northeast. Lows, though, only around 72. Now, 90 for a high on Friday. Partly cloudy skies, a 20% chance of a shower thunderstorm. Saturday and Sunday, we're looking at a slight chance of an isolated shower on Sunday, high around 90. And then partly to mostly cloudy skies Monday and Tuesday, with maybe a 20 to 30% chance of some showers and thunderstorms. We need the rain.
So all these 20%, 10% will be kind of like it was yesterday, where we kind of saw some cloud form and
very
then
scattered.
they kind of
That means most of us won't see the rain.
Oh, well, let's hope that you see it in whatever town you're in.
That's
There's
right.
so many chances, hopefully.
Yeah, at least some. Yeah, we'll share the rain. There you go.
Stay tuned. More News 12 AM is coming up next.